We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Who am I kidding? We're live right now. Let's kick into it, shall we? Yells. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to, I almost said Your Music Live, to the Creator Town Hall. The name is right down there, Pete. You can just read off the screen. My name is Pete Johns. This is Studio Live today, and this is our 1 hour weekly show where we just talk about, we shoot the breeze about all things creator based. And in this week, we're talking about streaming royalties, YouTube Premium. We got a Dear Apple, which is a video that I want to take you through and break down and get your opinions on. And I'll be asking you this question. What is your streaming service of choice? What do you actually use when you're listening to music? Is it Spotify, Apple Music? Is it YouTube Music like me? Or is it something completely else? You can answer that. If you're here live, you can go ahead and answer that right here in the poll. And if you're here after the fact and you missed the poll, just drop your comments down below. If you've got questions and you're here live, you can do this. Just pop the word question in your comment and I'll circle back and answer as many of those questions as I can. And if you do have a question and you're here on the replay, no problem. We love you just as much. Just drop that question down in the comments as well and we'll circle back to it. And we are brought to you today by the Studio Live Today merchandise store. I'm not wearing it. I've got my Master of the Universe t-shirt on today, but shout out to Bobby, who recently bought one of the rainbow logo shirts, to a bunch of people that have been buying hoodies and t-shirts. It's t-shirt weather in the Northern Hemisphere, so grab yourself a Studio Live Today t-shirt. Look cool, confuse your friends. Let's jump into it, shall we? Because we've got a heap to talk about and we've got a lot to get into. And let's start with a few changes. So yeah, you might notice here that there's a few changes here in the studio. Now, I know it's in the background and I deliberately blur my background and make it a little bit darker, but this room was a multi-purpose room already. So this was my home studio, but it was also like the children's playroom, children's study. It was a clothes putting away room, and because we have a 3-bedroom home, we had myself and my wife upstairs, the kids sharing a room. And then this was kind of the everything else. Well, we've reclaimed this because this is a master bedroom. So we've reclaimed this. So I am officially now back in a bedroom studio. And you might say, Pete, shouldn't you be going the other way, buddy? Shouldn't you be working on getting your own space and having more space? And look, that's potentially the plan down the track. But for now, I actually like it. I dig the fact that because this channel is all about creating where you are, and I know many of you have your home studios in your bedrooms or in a spare room or in a shared space, doesn't it make sense that me talking about this stuff, that I'm actually doing it? I've always said that the reason people say, Pete, when are you buying an SM7B? When are you going to get like some decent like preamps and like microphones and all the gear? And the reason I don't is A, hey, not made of money, none of us are, but B, I think showing folks that you don't need all that gear, but you can still get good results is more important. And I've seen a few channels, and no disrespect to them whatsoever, because yeah, you start getting good, you save up your money, you buy better gear, more power to you. But the problem there is that a lot of folks that are just discovering the channel and are just starting to create music, if I'm sitting here in like a classy studio with all the treatment and all the gear and all the bells and whistles, they may look at this and go, oh, this isn't for me. This is not for my level. This isn't for beginners. And I want to make sure that this channel is for beginners, amateurs, and pros alike. Like, that's the thing. Even if you are very experienced with recording, what I'm hoping is that through the stuff we talk about here, there may be a few of those hidden gems that you just didn't know about or didn't think about or think about in a different way. We don't all have all the answers all the time, and we all don't know everything. So sometimes just finding out some new things can actually help. And that's why the wonderful community who are here and who join me live, as well as on the replay each week, are here. And let's say good day to some of those right here, right now. We've got Bubba in the house, SM Borthwick, Night Train 1988. Hello to Thomas Christ. Hello to Patrick Chandler. Guzzo of Oz has got up early for the show. Thank you for being here. We've got Barry Glenn, who is in the house as well. Who have I missed here? I'm scrolling up frantically trying to see. Josiah Manley, is Jazz here? My daughter Jazz? No, it's a school day, so she's doing what school students do, which is getting ready for school. Let's have a look. Have we got anything else? I think I've covered everyone. Brad Example, who snuck in early. Hello to you. So yeah, please do answer the poll. We will come back to the poll question in about 25 minutes, just before we do our midpoint motivation. Christopher Rossi snuck in as well. Just before we do our midpoint motivation, I'll let you know the poll and we'll see what folks are using. Because and this is a good segue, because I happen to use this service. I use YouTube Premium. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I use YouTube Premium. So what are the actual key features of YouTube Premium? I've realized it hasn't updated my notes here, so I need to grab my phone to get the notes up that I made before the show. I know, I do actually prepare for this show. Shock. But I do actually prepare. So if you're not aware, YouTube Premium, and this is in no way an endorsement or an advertisement for YouTube Premium, because I am not affiliated with YouTube. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The affiliation I have with YouTube is that I'm part of the YouTube Partner Program, which means that when I release a video and you see advertising on that video, YouTube break off a chunk of that ad revenue and they send it to me. And that's how I keep the lights on here at Studio Live Today Studios. So that's my only affiliation with YouTube. But YouTube Premium is a service that they offer. Now, it depends where you are in the world as to how much it costs. It's $11.99 for an individual account, I believe, in the US right now, which is where most of you are. And it varies in your pounds and euros and Aussie dollars. I think it's $14.99 here in Australia. I pay $17.99, and that gives me a family account. So myself and all the members of my family here, except the dog, we all get accounts. And that's actually really effective and affordable way to do it. So, but if, let's say you're an individual and you want to pay $12, you might think, why do I need this? Why do I need something else when I already have, especially if you already have Spotify or Apple Music? Because what YouTube Premium has is pretty much every song that's in the Spotify and Apple Music catalog. There's a few exceptions there because, as you know, if you've released your own music, you can choose to release just to one platform or just to another. But most artists, most of the time, release to all platforms, including YouTube, because why wouldn't you? YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, behind only Google. So a lot of artists are getting their stuff on there. So it is a streaming platform. It has its own app, YouTube Music. You can use it just like Spotify. You can use it on your Google Play, Google Home devices like I do. You can say, hey, the name, play Scarpa, play New Beginning by Pete Johns, the song you heard at the start there. You can do all of that sort of stuff. But there's other things that it actually has. So apart from just being a music streaming, you get to watch YouTube videos like this one without that ad that you probably watched at the start or you're about to see in about 15 minutes time. So ad-free YouTube, but it's not ad-free YouTube like an ad blocker is, which is, sure, you do you if you want to block ads, but as I explained to you, the way that creators like myself make a living is that we run ads. And hopefully you find that here on Studio Live Today, I don't cram the ads in. I usually put one at the start, one at the finish, and on a longer show, I might stick one in the middle like this show here. But yeah, you would have seen a lot of YouTube videos where you can actually choose. And here's the thing, the creators get to choose. Unless you set it onto automatic, creators get to choose how many ads they put in there. So if you're watching a 20-minute video with 8 ads and you're like, oh, bloody YouTube put so many ads, no, you need to chat to your creator and tell them to reduce the number of ads because we have complete control over that. So ad-free is pretty cool. There's YouTube originals that you can get, which that Cobra Kai is probably the only one I've really watched, which is that Karate Kid spin-off series, which you can watch on YouTube Premium. That's kind of cool. You get to download videos to your device. So if you've ever been on a plane that doesn't have Wi-Fi, a lot of them do these days, but on a plane or a train or you're traveling and you've got a bunch of videos like, oh, I want to binge watch a bunch of Sound Test Room and Jade Star videos that I haven't seen, I can actually download those to my device and then watch those when I'm away from a wireless connection. So to me, that is pretty darn cool. And my favorite feature is watch in background. Before this show, I was on the treadmill. Yeah, I'm trying to get fit again. I was on the treadmill and then I was having my breakfast and my coffee and I was able to listen to YouTube videos. I had Doug Wood streaming to start with, and then I could jump in and I was listening to some of the videos just to remind myself that I'm talking about on the show today. And I could listen to those in the background without having my phone open. And I could be taking notes in my other apps because it all runs in the background. Then I can stick my phone in my pocket while I'm drinking my coffee, eating my cereal, and it still keeps going. So to me, for my use case, it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm a very heavy music listener and a very heavy YouTube viewer. So for me, having the YouTube app is about 90% of the content. So anytime I'm listening to music or anytime I'm watching videos, it's on YouTube and it's YouTube Premium. And why would I pay $10 for Spotify when for $12 I get all of that? That's my use case, your use case is going to vary, and that's why I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments here. Answer the quiz there if you're here live, or leave your comments behind. But I'm keen to know what you think about that. Are you a YouTube Premium user? Are you considering it? And again, the cool thing is that you will continue to support creators. So if you're worried about that side, and you should be, then yeah, you're not doing something like ad blocking, which is not supporting your creator. Your creator still gets paid because they get a chunk of that YouTube Premium that you actually pay. Feisty Heisty says, yeah, no ads is amazing. I hear you. That's one of the great things. Multitasking on speed, not the drug, but but the going fast. Patty Clark says, absolutely love premium. No ads is just awesome. Yeah, you won't know yourself once you go premium. You won't know yourself because it removes all of those barriers. It removes the barrier of every time you close your phone and your video stops and you're like, oh no, why did my video stop? It removes that. I realised I'm only getting mono audio in my headphones. Hopefully stereo audio is coming through for you, but it doesn't really matter. But hopefully it's at least coming through on both. My mix is saying it is. But yeah, it is a very, very cool service, and I would consider it if you want to do that. Thomas said if I was a bit more secure financially, I'd probably go for premium. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a completely personal thing. I'm not sure if you were going to buy one, why you wouldn't go YouTube Premium if you're a video watcher, if you're watching a lot of videos. Yeah. That's just me though. And look, the other thing is that perhaps you've got a bunch of friends that are all Spotify users. That may be a use case where you're like, oh no, because I want to share songs with my friends and I want to do that. And in fact, if you are doing that, I wasn't going to talk about this, but there is a very cool service. So let's just say that you are, because sometimes I do feel a little bit left out being a YouTube Premium user because a lot of other people use Spotify or use Apple Music. So when people send me a link to Spotify or Apple Music, I use this service called songwhip.com. I know I've talked about it here before, but this is where you can actually paste in a link. So let's just, in fact, we'll do it in reverse. So we'll say I was playing this song at the start here, New Beginning, but this is actually this is the video version that I did. But if I search here in YouTube, Pete John's New Beginning, let's see if we can find the YouTube version. So here it is. Here's the topic, the YouTube Premium version. So this is what would play if I played it on the YouTube app. There it is. And what we can do is if I share this and I copy that link, I can actually use songwhip.com and we can come in here and we can make a music link. We can paste it in there and look what it does. It goes away and creates a page. And now you can share this on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, Amazon, YouTube Music, Deezer, all the places. Isn't that cool? So yeah, that way you can just share that. And then all you need to do is share this link and look how clean and neat that link looks. Look here, I'll pop it here I'll pop it here there so that you can take a look. I really need to start using the newer headphones because these ones are really starting to go, aren't they? So if I pop that in the chat there, then you can actually see that link and you can go there. And then regardless of what platform you're on, you're a Spotify user, no problem. You just click on Spotify and it will take you into Spotify and you can play the song. So it's just a super convenient way to share your music if you're worried that your friends may not be on the same platform as you. Patty Clark says, I primarily use YouTube. As a nursing student, YouTube is a necessity, so premium was a no-brainer for me. Yeah, hey, maybe you could tax deduct it. I don't know, I haven't thought of that, but I do use YouTube for an awful lot of research, and that is part of my job. I'm going to talk to my accountant. Let's make a note of that. YouTube Premium, can it be tax deducted? Yeah, you got to ask these questions, right? It's if I was paying for a platform that was an educational platform, I would. I use what is it called? Mastermind. My yearly Mastermind subscription, because that teaches me how to do things that I then implement. To me, that's an educational expense as part of my business. So maybe YouTube Premium is too. Let's have a quick cough. My apologies. Part of the joys of live. We'll have a quick drink. And we'll move on to our next topic. What do we have a question? What guitars do I have? I have a Taylor acoustic. I have an Epiphone Les Paul. They're the main ones. I have a very cheap bass and a very cheap electric, and I've got a nice little Ovation Martinez acoustic guitar. Maybe one day we'll do a guitar one, but yeah, a guitar-based video where I show my guitars, but there's nothing special there. It's really not. I know some people are giant guitar heads, and more power to you if you are. But for me, it's not really my jam. Like I play guitar. I'm not a guitar player. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but you know those people that are guitar players that they've got like 21 guitars and they're like, we'll sit down and like, which guitar do I choose to play today? I'm like, which guitar has the least amount of dust and is in tune today? That's my question. That's how I choose what guitar to play. Let's continue on. Let's talk about this. So I kind of buried the lead on this one, but guess what? It is less than 6 weeks until Songtember. And you may be asking yourself, if you're new to the channel, what the heckaroonie is Songtember? Well, Songtember is a month. It is September. It is 30 days. And each year, and for the last 2 years, and we'll do it again this year in 2021, we've been doing a challenge where I create an entire song end to end. I write it, record it, mix it, master it, and release it. And I do all of those things all within September. And with daily videos, you get to follow along that process. And I throw the challenge out to you to create your own song end to end, to write it, to record it, and to release it. Now, if you don't want to release to DistroKid, I use DistroKid and they're cool. And there's a link down in the description. Many of you know about them. You can distribute to Spotify, Apple Music, all the places. If you don't want to do that, just put it onto somewhere like slaps.com or SoundCloud. Releasing doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to be to all of the streaming platforms if you're not ready for that yet. But release really mean, when I say create, record, release, what I mean is create it, record it. Release means letting go. Yeah, release, pew, drop it. There's a reason why they say, I dropped a song, because you release it, you let go. And that letting go when it comes to creativity is so super important, because how many of you, hands up in the chat, how many of you have half-finished songs, three-quarter finished songs, 7/8 finished songs, 14/15 finished songs? Like, seriously, a lot of us have got these songs that are 98% there, but we simply won't let go. The problem there is you're not learning from the outcome of that song. So if you're releasing a song, you're getting it out there, it benefits you in a couple of ways. It is cathartic because you're like, this thing is done. I don't have to think about it. It's not taking up valuable brain real estate anymore. And secondly, if you share it with others, like on a Facebook group or like with the community here, then you're getting feedback. You're getting feedback from other people who are saying to you, hey, I really dig this because you did this well. I would probably work on it here. And I always tell this story that when I started recording and releasing music, I would mix the vocals way too loud. And it was a bit of a blind spot for me. I didn't realize I wasn't deliberately mixing them so loud, but I just didn't really understand about compression and EQ and finding space for my vocals without them overpowering. So my vocals kept sitting on top of my mix. And it wasn't until a few people that I trust in some groups very kindly just said, hey, Pete, you got to turn these vocals down a few dB, buddy, or bring the rest of your track up or do something, because your vocals, they're not sitting in the mix, they're sitting on the mix. Would I have known that without their assistance? Probably not. So that was what I went with. So that's just one example, but you'll find that when you release music, then you get a lot of feedback, and then that actually helps you with your next release. The difference being that if you've got 10 half-finished songs, you've got zero feedback on those. But what if over those 10 months that you're working on those 10 songs, you release a song a month? Guess what? By month 10, you're crushing it because you've had feedback 10 months in a row about 10 different songs from a bunch of different people. And that can really be a game changer when it comes to your creativity. So I do invite you to join us if you are interested. There you go. Mark says guilty, guilty of the half finished, but Songtember allowed me to release my first one last year. So there's that. Yes. And if you haven't been around the channel for a while, Mark is one of our OGs here. He's been around the channel a long time, and it was super satisfying to see that he used Songtember as that motivation to get his first song done and out there, which is super duper cool. So congratulations on that one. There you go. Oh, Amarasea said, I finally just got something onto DistroKid. I made it within the month of July, Songtember style. Excellent stuff. Great job there. So yeah, please do join me for Songtember. It is coming up. There'll be some things here on the channel to lead up to it. And if you want to relive Songtember 2020, if you're like, what is this all about? What's going on? You can jump in there. I've got the full playlist linked down below. There's Pete from a year ago, looking about the same, maybe about 10 kgs less with all the C word weight. But there you go. You can see the usual suspects that were there this time last year, and there's 20, I think, in the 20 videos that you can scroll through. You can relive it. So why not make the rest of July or August your Songtember prep, and you can follow through. And I created. So I'm showing here the song "Hold On." That was Songtember 2019, and then the song "New Beginning" that you heard there at the start. That was Songtember 2020. So for me, it's pretty cool to have this. Oh, and one last thing. The benefit for you, the incentive, the motivation. We don't do prizes. We don't do best of. I personally don't like music to be a competition. So that's why I don't run like contests or songwriting contests or recording contests or any sort of competition here, because there's enough competition in life around getting a job and around getting a girlfriend and around all that stuff. Do you need competition when it comes to music? I don't think you do. I don't like the American Idol and The Voice and all those things. You might, and that's cool. More power to you. But the reason we don't do a competition is that I think that everyone should be able to win. If you get a song out in a month, you've won already. And to reward you for that win, I buy a copy on iTunes. So if you release to iTunes through DistroKid or any other distributor, I buy a copy. So I love my iTunes now because I go back to my iTunes library and I'm reliving from 2019 and 2020, because I've been doing this is the third year now. I relive all of those songs and all those artists that have released through Songtember, and it's such a cool trip down memory lane every time I go and check out my iTunes library. So it's very cool. Very cool for that. Bubba says, checks project folder, 453 unfinished tunes. Yeah, absolutely. We've all got it. I think we all have something like that going on in our world. For sure. Dean Turner says we need time stretching in GarageBand iOS. It would be good. There is time stretching available in Cubasis. So if you are desperate for time stretching, you can grab something like Cubasis 3, which I've showed here on the channel before. And I like a little app called Audio Stretch. So I'm not showing my iPad or my iPhone on the screen today here because we've had issues with that lately. But if you are really looking to get that on there, to get audio stretching ability, if you've got a loop or you've got a sample or you've got something that you want to stretch out, Audio Stretch can do that. And that can change pitch as well as tempo or both. So that's kind of a cool tool. It's about $10 to buy, but Audio Stretch, look it up if you are desperately in need of stretching out your audio. Kim, there you go. I put a song on DistroKid today too. Very exciting, a little nerve-wracking. Yeah, there's a great classic video from our friend Maffy's Garden, Matt Anderson. I'll have to try and dig it up, but he was releasing his first song. In fact, I think I did a video. Yeah, I did a video where I talked about him releasing that song. So let's see if I go Pete Johns, Maffy's Garden. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, this was cool. So go check out this video. Pete, I'll copy it here. I'll put it here in the chat, and then I'll add it to the show notes here. So there you go. It's in the chat there for folks that are watching live, and I'll pop it here in the notes. This is the beauty part of YouTube, is I can build the show notes as we go here. There we go. We can go Maffy's Garden release, and I'll paste that in there. So check out that video after this show, because it shows the pure joy yet absolute terror of releasing your first song. It really is a roller coaster ride of emotions doing that, I can assure you. And even doing it now, and I know, folks like Jade Starr, who's released a bunch of tracks, and myself as well, there's always just that just that inhale just before you hit that submit button, because you're like, did I get the spelling right? What if I spelled it wrong? Is the album artwork the right one? Did I accidentally download a low res version? What's going on? So yeah, there is that to keep in mind. All right, let's move on to our next topic. So yeah, Songtember, it's coming soon. Let's talk about streaming revenue, shall we? So I saw this, now it was either GarageBand users or Create Record Release, and I apologize, I forget who actually posted it. I should go and try and look it up. But if it's you and you're watching this, please comment down below and say, Pete, it was me and you stole my content. No, I'm not really stealing your content, but I thought it was a really good article, and I wanted to share it with folks here. So it is this one here, and yes, the headline has Ed Sheeran's face in it, because of course it does, because clicks, you want to get the clicks. But MPs, and this is in the UK, MPs call for a complete reset of music streaming to ensure fair pay for artists. And as you can see here, it's about a 5-minute read. You can go ahead, I've copied the link there, you can go ahead and take a read of that in your own time. But it basically goes down and breaks down the fact that music streaming is a big thing now. And you can see from graphs like this, you've probably seen these before, that the proportion of physical media to streaming and to downloads has really changed over the last 10 years. So you can see there in 2011, this blue space here, that was your downloads. Your yellow was streaming, which was virtually, it was only weirdos like me on Audio and these sort of services that were streaming back then. And then this is your physical media. And physical media, not surprisingly, has reduced in its proportion and its volume of sales, because again, this is in billions of dollars. So not only proportionally, but absolutely, it has reduced over that time. Your downloads have reduced as well, as you can see there. Downloads have taken a big chunk out, and performance has increased, which is great. So performing artists has increased, even in 2020, because of the fact that folks are doing things like performing live on YouTube and doing things like this, doing these virtual concerts, it has increased. And then your sync licenses, which is for TV and movies and that sort of thing, is the cream on the top there. But look at that chunk. And look at that in terms of the billions of dollars that are being generated by streaming. And here's what artists are saying. They're like, we actually want a bigger chunk of that, because at the moment they're getting, I think I read in the article, about 16% of that. The other 84% is going into the running of the services, and it's going into the paying of the fees, and it's going into the streaming and the servers and all the rest of it. And of course going into, for those that are making a profit, because not many of the streaming platforms are actually making a lot of money, to be honest, but it's going into the running of those and paying of staff and doing all of that. So musicians are saying, hey, when it was CDs, we were getting a bigger cut of that. And again, it does depend. Everything depends on the deal you have and whether you own the publishing rights and a whole bunch of other things. There's too many factors to go into. But you can see from this that streaming is now dominating the world of music. And artists are just saying, can we please have half? And they said, we want half. It's like a bad divorce. Like, I'm taking half. So what do you think on this? Because here's the thing, the market is the market. And I'm a free market supporter, because I think that customers will do what they want to do. End users, end consumers will do what they want to do. And we just talked about YouTube Premium, and you folks have all sort of said in the chats and by your votes of what you're using. Now, at the moment, for Spotify, for Apple Music, for YouTube Premium to run as they currently do. Now, you can argue, hey, are their executives getting paid too much money? Are they paying too much for advertising? Are they paying too much? Whatever. But the way they're currently being run, these are the costs that they have. And they have allocated that sort of 16, 20%, whatever it is, to go back to artists for royalties. Does that need to increase? Do they need to skimp on things? Because you know what's going to happen. What happens in a free market where costs to a business go up? Do they wear those costs? Do they cut salaries of executives? Do they cut down their platforms and their infrastructure? No. What do? They make end users pay more. It's every industry, whether it's the telecommunications industry, the insurance industry, the energy industry. You are never going to get that wonderful email. Well, very rarely do you get an email saying, guess what? Our cost to serve you has gone up. But don't worry, we're going to charge you the same. We're just going to keep everything rolling along. We're not going to increase your premiums. We're not going to increase your fees. So here's the question to you. Would you pay more for your monthly streaming subscription to enable artists to be paid more? Would you pay a $20 a month Spotify instead of $10 a month if you knew that every cent of that extra $10 was going back to artists? If Spotify just said, guess what, tomorrow we're doubling our prices, except the extra $10 go straight into this pool, go straight back into these artists so they can get paid more. Would you do it? I don't know. Would I do it? I don't know. I think that what we currently have at the moment is that artists are having to find very unique ways to actually monetize what they do. So that's why they're doing things like not the OnlyFans, what's the other one? The Cameo, where they're doing little videos that you have to pay for. It's like, oh, happy birthday, Cheryl. I hope you had a good day. This is Marky Mark from the Funky Punch. I don't know. Bad example. But yeah, would you pay more for it? I don't know. And then the other things is obviously touring, which has been really cut down. And I think this has been amplified by the fact that so many concerts, I mean, just this weekend here in Adelaide, and keep in mind, we have zero C-word stuff here in this state at the moment for now. Victoria, New South Wales, it's coming. So I hope you're all well. But we still had a bunch of events cancelled just because it's too risky. So a lot of artists that are planning gigs, that are planning concerts, that are planning events, they can't actually do these at the moment. So it's making this whole streaming controversy that has been around for years even more poignant, I think. And there's even more to go. SM Borthwick says, as far as I'm aware, Spotify still doesn't turn a profit, so it's difficult to see where the money will coming from, unless, as you say, they charge the consumer more. And that's exactly right. There's really not much going through. Yeah. Kim says, yeah, I think I would pay more. Yeah, maybe. What did we have? Sorry, I'm just trying to find the other comments. I think I read that Mariah Carey only makes 90,000 a year from streaming, which is kind of ridiculously low considering it's Mariah Carey. Yeah, and this is the thing. If you think this is something that's only affecting the indie artists, it's actually not. In fact, guess what? If you're an indie artist, you're actually ahead of the game. Why? Because of that 16% of what Spotify are pushing back into artists of all of their costs that they're getting paid, well, you're getting all of that. If you use DistroKid, and this isn't meant to be an ad for DistroKid, they are a sponsor here on the channel, but not of this show. If you're using DistroKid, you're getting 100% of the royalties. Yes, you're only getting, what do they say in this, like 0.002 to 0.0038 cents per stream, but you're getting all of it. Imagine if you are a major artist that you have to pay songwriters, publishers, a record label, your distributors, your marketing team. Mariah's probably making 90K because she's getting like 5% scraped off the bottom, and she has to pay so many people to actually do that. And I know, yeah, violin out for artists that are millionaires, but it is what it is. Like it is a thing that is impacting artists because a lot of this money is going back into the infrastructure. And yeah, look, there's always been infrastructure. CDs had to be manufactured. There's always been marketing, and there's always been sales, and there's always been costs for radio play and all the other things. But it is different now. So I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I would take a look at that article because it is very good. It is down in the notes, and you can check that one out. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Jade Starr. Yes, you're late. Please see the principal after the show. Thank you to Jade, who did a really cool opening hour before the happy hour yesterday. So we both played some old school tunes. So if you like some acoustic music and you want to end your weekend with some acoustic stuff, check out Jade's opening hour from yesterday or my happy hour. Or why not watch both? Que ska a las dos. I think that's Spanish. My Spanish is a bit rough. Okay, let's check in, shall we, on the where was it? I've got to find this now. We had the streaming. There you go. We'll jump over here and check out the results. That's what I'm trying to say. Lost me words. And unfortunately, I can't see the results of this here in StreamYard. So I have to, and this is one problem, I have to go here to YouTube. It's going to start playing back my live show, which gets all Inception-like. But what I can do is I can end this poll. End it. And we can see what the results of the poll were. So I've just ended the poll there. You'll get the notifications in just a moment. And it will pop up. Can I read it here? No. Come on, poll. There it is. So, what music streaming service do you use primarily? Let's see. Can I copy this and make this a comment over here? We'll try this. This is all a bit experimental here, folks, because I've only just added this in here. So I can come. Can I create a banner? Is this going to work? Yeah, it is. All right. So let's add this banner. And we'll pop it there. Oh, it looks a bit dodgy, but that's okay. So we asked the question here on YouTube, for those watching live on YouTube. What music streaming service do you currently use primarily? And look at that. Spotify, more than half, 51%. Other or none was 22%. Apple Music, 17%. And YouTube Music, 8%. And this is pretty indicative. Like, whilst our sample size is only, about 40 here, it's pretty indicative of what you tend to see across the board. So, yeah, about half of you are using Spotify. So Spotify have a pretty big stranglehold on the streaming services. What do you reckon? Did it surprise you? Or was that about what you're expecting? Probably about what I was expecting, I would say. Thomas Christ says, I listen to music on YouTube, but I don't have YouTube music. Yeah, and a lot of people do that. They'll listen to music on YouTube, but they'll have the ads as well. They'll tolerate the ads so that they can use YouTube to play that. Okay, so we are at the midpoint, which means it is time for our midpoint motivation. And if you've already checked the notes, by the way, the show notes are already down in the description, so you can follow along at home. I'm a little bit out of order here today, but you can check those. So our midpoint motivation is that it is okay to be unmotivated. Now, this is something that a lot of folks struggle with, is motivation. And we can often feel super guilty. And when I say we, I'm talking about me as well, because we're not feeling motivated to do that thing. I've got a few things hanging over me that I'm not motivated to do, and I haven't been doing them. I've been procrastinating them. I've been putting them off because I haven't felt motivated to do them. Now, that's not a great thing, but you know what's even worse? is having them in my loop and feeling guilty about them every single day. So whenever I get up, I'm like, oh, I haven't done that thing yet. And then I get up the next day, oh, I haven't done that thing yet. So what I found works really well for me, and your mileage is going to vary, but what works well for me is to chunk it down. And I've talked about chunking before, but the question that I like to ask, and I'm doing this with myself because I'm giving myself a lecture, because I've got to prepare. Guess what? This is really exciting, thrilling, world of music, rock and roll stuff, but I've got to prepare my tax return for the year 2020, 2021. Because here in Australia, we use a financial year for reasons that have always baffled me. So our financial year goes from the 1st of July to the 30th of June. And guess what? It's the 19th of July. So what does that mean? All my documents have started coming in for the last year. I need to work out, and without pulling the curtain down too much, if you think about what I do here as a business, I get paid from YouTube, which comes out of Singapore. I get paid from DistroKid for all the stuff that I do, which is out of the US. I get paid from Amazon in 4 different countries: Canada, the US, the UK, and Australia. So I have to consolidate and determine any income that I'm making from all of these streams, as well as the wonderful donations I get from you. Because as much as I love your donations, they're taxable income. So I know it's a bit weird when you think about it, but everything, because this is a business, everything that I get paid for is taxable. So yeah, you give me that kind $10 donation on PayPal, well, guess what? The Australian government comes in and says, we'll be taking 35% of that, thank you. And they walk away. So yeah, that needs to be done. But because it's such a big task, guess what? Guess how much of it I've done? 0. Instead of going, okay, what is the least amount of this that I can do today that's going to make me feel good about it? So you know what? Today I'm going to get my YouTube revenue sorted. That's the one thing. That's one thing. And then tomorrow I can set up, maybe today I look at DistroKid. And then on Wednesday I look at all my Amazon affiliate revenue. And if I do one thing a day, it'll take me, 10, 15 minutes a day? Instead of this big, giant 4-hour thing, over the next 2 weeks, I can get this done in 10, 15-minute chunks, and it will be all done, and I'll be feeling a lot better. So how does that relate to music? I know, doing my taxes is a bit boring. How does that relate to music? Well, think about the daunting, overwhelming proposition of writing a song. What do you have to do when you write a song? You have to get lyrics. You have to get music. You have to get an arrangement. You then have to record it. What am I going to record with? What instrumentation should I use? What time signature? What key signature? All of that. Chunk it down. What is the least amount you can do today? Can you write a hook today? Yeah. Can you write a first verse today? Can you just do some speed thinking like we did last week's show? Can you just sit down, put 1 minute on the clock and think about words and phrases that are going to work in with the song that you've got in your head at the moment? What can you do? What time do you have and how can you spend that time? Instead of, because here's the thing, what do we spend our time doing? Worrying and shuffling and thinking about the things we're not doing instead of just getting on and doing them. So chunk it down, work out what is the smallest amount of that task that's been overpowering you, then go for it. And you'll be happy. Bubba says, does Patreon send 1099s or the Australian equivalents? Yeah, so no, because it's all different. So it's different here in Australia. You do get tax statements from employers, but if it's something like a Patreon or something like Amazon affiliates, basically the onus is on me as the individual to do all of that. So we don't have the same structure with like 1099s that kind of make it a bit easier. I have to know it, which means that the government trusts me to report correctly, which means that a lot of people don't, which means that you come under scrutiny. So again, that's why I need to have my my ducks in a row when it comes to everything. Yeah, there you go. But another one, Patreon. There's another one that I that I need to factor in with that. And then there's also the expenses and things as well. So all the things. There you go. I love your attack plan. Yeah, you just got to do that. You got to find ways to get things done without it being super duper overwhelming. Yeah, and yeah, no one would want to do your tax. I know. Goal for 2021 is to hire a bookkeeper. I swear, as soon as people are like, oh, when you Studio Live Today is growing, are you going to hire a video editor? Are you going to hire a community manager? I'm like, I'm going to hire a bookkeeper. I want someone that I just CC in on all of my emails and they just collate it all and it all just gets done. As soon as I have enough money to, feed the family, pay the bills and hire someone, it is going to be at least a part-time bookkeeper to do all of this for me. Because in case you didn't get the vibe from all of what I just said, I really don't like doing that sort of stuff. It's not fun. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that's a bit of motivation for you to just get out and do something today. It doesn't have to be everything. Don't boil the ocean. Just get out there and do one thing that's going to push you in the right direction. We do have about 20 minutes left, so if you do have questions, please go ahead and ask those. Just put the word question in front of your comment, and I will get to those because we have other stuff to jump into here today. And this is kind of the feature topic. It was the title of the show because I'm starting to do like a title and a feature here on each one. And it is Dear Apple. Let's send a Dear Apple letter, not like a Dear John letter, but a Dear Apple letter. And I mentioned this because there was a very cool video that I caught. Now I'm not aware of this creator, but clearly other people are because Mr. Who's the Boss has 7.7 million subscribers. So obviously I'm the one missing out. And look, I'm not even subscribed. There you go. Now he's got 7.71 and a bit million subscribers. But this video is actually fantastic. He goes through all of the different things that he thinks that Apple are doing wrong or perhaps could be doing better. So it's a countdown because everyone loves a countdown. And so he's gone through all the things that he said that if Apple did, that they would basically own and crush when it comes to, and look, they already do, but there's a lot of things in here that are really interesting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through all 10 of these. And then, give me your views. If you're watching on the replay or if you're watching here live, let me know, what would you change? If you're Apple and you were creating iPhones and iPads and technology, what would you do differently? What's the one thing? What grinds your gears? Let's go with that. What grinds your gears about Apple and what they do? If you could change one thing, if Tim Cook says, hey, Mark, hey, Bubba, hey, Jade, you are the CEO of Apple now, what is the first thing you do? What's the first thing you change about a product, about a service, about anything at all? And while you're thinking about that, I will jump through and talk through these 10 things. So, number one thing he says is the sharp edges. So if you are frustrated like me with the fact that Apple changed the way that their phones look every 2 years, basically, every time they do a version upgrade, you'll feel the same way. And this current version, I was preparing for this show before and I'm using my iPhone 12 and the sharp edges, even though I'm using a cover, I was like, why does my index finger feel really weird? And it was because I was walking around holding my phone and I looked down at my finger and I had this ridge embedded in my finger. And I'm like, man, that's really bad. Are we going to get to the point where in 10 years' time, our kids are all just going to have these weird ridges and calluses in their fingers from holding their sharp phones? But the thing is, here's the deal. The iPhone 5 looked like this. It was sharp, so did the 4. Then the 6 and 7 and 8 up to 10 went all rounded and curvy again. And then guess what? The 11s and 12 went sharp. And guess what? The 13s and 14s, they're going to go, oh, sharp. So 2021, we're going to go rounded again. So yeah, I agree with that one. The sharp edges, they need to go. They suck. The Apple Arcade is number 2. Basically saying that Apple Arcade doesn't really have any games that a lot of people wanting to play. And I know people like my buddy Joey Helpish. He loves Apple Arcade and plays on Apple Arcade. I've looked at it. There's nothing there that floats my boat. Yet we have the power, we have the technology. In something like this or in an iPad Pro, you got a better processor and more RAM than you have in a freaking PlayStation 4 or even a 5. So why don't we have better games? I don't know. I'm not a huge gamer. I do love some games, but yeah, I've never been interested in Apple Arcade for that very reason. Number 3 is Siri. Siri, as he says in this video, is the worst of the assistants. Worse than Alexa, worse than Google. What do you think? I don't love Siri. I can't get Siri to do a lot of the things I want it to do. And more often than not, Siri is popping up when I don't want her to. So I've accidentally held down the button and got a bit of that sort of action going on. Well, she's not even working now. Not listening to me. But yeah, I get Siri more often when I don't want her than when I do. So Siri is definitely frustrating. Live wallpapers. So the fact that you can only just have a single image behind here, there's no interactivity, it's just a plain graphic on any of your devices, and that in all of iOS land, they're adding things like this app library, which I don't know, does anyone actually use that? So they're adding things like that, but they're not adding the ability to update and change your wallpaper and maybe have a live image or maybe have a video or something behind there. So yeah, I agree, that's a bit boring. The lock screen and the ability to unlock with your face, why do we still not have the button, like a virtual button? Again, of all the things that you can have on here, it is really frustrating if you're wearing a mask or if you're fumbling about in the dark and you're trying to open your phone, having to flick up. And even the fact that I turn the phone to myself and it looks at me, the little unlock thing comes up and it's like, I'm waiting for you. Come on, Johns, I'm waiting for you. And I have to awkwardly flick up from the bottom with my finger. Why? And the same on my iPad, it's the worst. My iPad sits more than arm's length because I'm using a mouse and keyboard most of the time with it. It's more than arm's length away. So I open it and I'm reaching and fumbling. And look, I know my use case isn't super typical, but I can't be the only one that's frustrated by these things. So yes, lock screen's bad. Icon packs he talks about. I don't really care about icons. For some reason, there's a big modding community in the Android world where they change the icons to be different things. I could not be asked. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe you love changing up your icons and customizing things. I barely get my screens in the right order, yet, let alone trying to update with custom icons. So couldn't really care less about that. The fingerprint scanner, which is sort of part of the lock screen issue, is wouldn't have to do the flicking up if I could just hold my finger on a part of the screen and it could have an embedded fingerprint scanner in there. Come on, we've got technology now. We can do it. So get that. He doesn't talk about the notch, but I do. I hate the notch. I don't know why we need the notch. I know, it's for the camera, it's for the speaker. Just give it a chin. If the chin of the top of this had to just be that amount, I just couldn't care. And while we're at it, the rounded corners on the screen, come on. It's not the 70s. It's not like Art Deco style. Why do we need these rounded corners of our screen? Screens have, well, ever since those original tube TVs that had the horrible rounded screens, we've decided that flat rectangles is where it's at. Give me my flat rectangle, Apple. USB-C, for the love of your deity of choice. Why do we still have lightning? Okay, he talks about in the video why we still have lightning. It's because everyone has lightning stuff, yeah? And it would be a big thing. The amount of lightning chargers and lightning adapters and lightning cables that I have here, just in this studio alone, is quite disturbing. So if they did change to USB-C, would I have to go out and get a couple of new cables and a couple of new things? Yes, but you know what? Everything else new that I'm buying is USB-C. So I'm already starting to collect that. My iPad is USB-C. A lot of my audio gear now is USB-C. So just change it to USB. You have to rip the Band-Aid off at some stage. But Apple do make a lot more money selling their lightning adapters. Go out and price yourself a lightning to USB adapter from Apple at $65 Australian or $40 US versus a USB-C to USB adapter that you can pick up for $10 that will work perfectly. And you might know a little bit of why they're not going to USB-C. The cameras, and he talks about the cameras are not very fun on the iPhone. They don't do fun things. And look, I don't really care about fun. I just care about the quality of the camera. But I don't know. I don't really have complaints about the cameras, to be honest, especially since I have the ridiculousness of 3 cameras on this one, which I rarely use. But yeah, within the last probably 5 years, I've never snapped a photo with an iPhone and thought, oh, this is not fun or this is not cool. So don't really care about that. And number 10, last but not least, battery. Yeah, battery life. And I'm with you on this one. Now, again, I'm a heavy user. So I use my phone to edit videos. I use it to watch a lot of videos. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm always on things like Clubhouse and other things. I'm answering comments in the YouTube Studio app. And I also use this as my connection because I don't have 4G on any of my other devices, my iPad or my other iPhone. So this is also my hub of connectivity when I'm on the go. So that means that all equates to it doesn't last a day. And this is the iPhone 12 Pro. Like, it's not the Pro Max that has slightly larger battery, but this is the 12 Pro. This should have enough battery for even a heavy user, a pro user, to last an entire day. It doesn't, and that's pretty disappointing because, again, we're in this race to thinness that is obviously something that Apple think people want, and they must do. They've got enough money and smarts to do the research. They know that this is the case. But does my phone need to be that thin? I don't want it to be that thin. In fact, I add a case just so that it actually has a bit more thickness to it. But an extra millimeter for an extra day's charge of battery, would I trade that off? In a heartbeat. Maybe I'm alone in that, but I would trade that off in a heartbeat. And this thing does not last as long as my iPhone 6S did when I first got it. And that's a bit ridiculous because that's a 7-year-old phone. And this phone is brand new. I mean, the 6S doesn't last any time now because it's old. But what's going to happen with this in a year? Like, what's the battery life going to be like this 6 months from now? It's a pain. I don't know. So there you go. There are the 10 things. Once again, go check out the video here from Dear Apple from Mr. Who's the Boss. Very cool name, by the way. And go through and check out all of the information there because it's a 16-minute video, but it's a really interesting watch, and then you can share your thoughts on that, which a lot of folks have done here, which I need to now try and go and find where I was up to. Just so that we can see. Bubba don't Siri. Yeah, there you go. Spacebar. See the spacebar on my Magic Keyboard. All right, Jade, you've just saved my shoulder. I don't have to reach quite as long as I have been before. Kim says I'm always taking accidental screenshots with the button placements. I'm glad I'm not the only one, Kim. I take accidental photos for some reason, and yeah, I do take accidental screenshots too because you're holding it like that, and when you click both those buttons, you get a screenshot. So you are not alone with that. Rarely or ever use that one. Yeah, I don't want to type her name in case she appears. Mark shuts down all the assistants. They're rubbish. Jay says I have a crazy deep ridge in my pinky finger. Came from my iPad 2017, holding it for long periods for 3 years. Yeah, I can hear that. I hear that. Thomas has the 12 Pro Max. I really like it. I have the Apple case, which softens the edges. That's probably what I need to do. I'm using a crappy third-party case. Maybe I need to bite the bullet and spend the $70 and buy the Apple one. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other comments on any of the iPhone stuff? Maybe. I'm scrolling down. Hello to Sion, who's here, and goodbye to Amaraseo, who has to leave. Here he is, omnipotent, benevolent, jealous, and listening right now. Right now. Exactly. Yeah. And this is the thing. Definitely the battery for Guzzo. Yeah. Joe, not going there. Too much to say. Yeah, it is tough, isn't it? That couple mil could make a difference in blowing out your skinny jean. Is that the thing? Is it all fashion, Bubba? Is it the fact that I'm not fashionable and other people are, and they're worried that, because I do see a lot of people not use a case. And I know, look, I've spoken to Jade about this. She doesn't use a case, and that's cool. But I don't think 18-year-olds that are buying $2,000 phones should not use a case, because I don't trust an 18-year-old to get my order right at McDonald's, let alone not drop their phone. So that was harsh, wasn't it? So is that extra millimeter? That's what they don't want. They don't care if their phone goes flat and they crack their screen. They're okay as long as they look cool. And yeah, I don't know. And apparently it is. Apparently a lot of it's that. It's that if you don't have the sharp edges and you're not showing your sharp edges, you're showing that you have outdated technology, and that's bad. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Thomas also with the accidental screenshots. There we go. Sion has the iPhone 6s Plus, which had yeah, I've got to get my 6s Plus battery replaced, but it's also cracked now, so I don't know if it's worthwhile. How are we going on time? We've got 10 minutes left. Let's check the notes here and see where we're up to. I think we're doing well. I think we're cracking along. So we've talked my changes here. We've talked Songtember. We've talked about streaming revenue, YouTube Premium. We've talked about Dear Apple, royalties. So I'll just touch really briefly on this one because we don't have a heap of time to talk about it. But I get a lot of questions about music royalties. And instead of trying to explain it here in detail, I'll point you over to this video. This one's from Charles Klein, and he does a really good job explaining it. So I've watched this video a few times. He talks about mechanical royalties, sync royalties, performing rights organizations, basically how to manage everything when it comes to royalties, because it is a slippery slope. And I do need to do an updated video myself, but I thought instead of just spending the 10 minutes that he spends there regurgitating it, I'll send you to his video. He's a cool dude, and he explains it in really clear and simple ways. So wherever you are in the world, if you are looking to get your music copyrighted, written, to manage your royalties, to manage syncing, YouTube Content ID, which I don't recommend, then you can go and check out Charles's video. It is super duper cool. All right. It is time to do our final thing that we do here on the show every week, and that is our hidden gems. Yeah, these are things that I've been finding through the week or that I find cool that I'm going to share with you, because sharing is caring and Sharon is Karen. And when it comes to creative stuff, these are some of the things that I like. They are all down in the description, so you don't have to take notes. You can just jump down there after the show, check them all out. And we're going to start with this one. Yes, if you know it, you know it. 12 tone, and 12 tones. There are 12 tones in a scale. This is a music theory channel with a difference. So as you can see, each of the videos here are this dude and his writing. And he's just doing doodles, little doodles like this. Let's just bring this one up. So you can see here, this is his most recent one, his response to Rick Beato. And this is about, no, today's modern music isn't boring. And you can see here that as the video goes on, little doodles, little things that are written down there, sort of like a mind map that he builds of each video. Super entertaining to watch, but again, if you're using YouTube Premium like me, they're actually really good videos to listen to. You learn a lot of stuff. You don't really need to see the doodles. They don't add a heap of stuff, but if you want to, you can watch them. But yeah, really good channel to listen to. So when, again, I'm on the treadmill or I'm out and about walking, I'll often throw a 12-tone video on and just listen to it, again, in background mode because YouTube Premium, and take a listen to that. So the one that I really like, which I think is the one I linked down below, I can't find it here now, but it talked about, no, I can't find it. It talked about something. Oh, it was songwriting. It was why being too tricky and why being too complex is not a good thing for songwriting, and why simple songwriting is often the best, which is kind of the premise, and something that I share in here, that you don't need to be super duper complicated, and you don't need to know all the names of the chords and all the different sustained and augmented and everything. It helps, and it's fun, and if you like it, more power to you, but it's not a necessity. So yeah, just go and check out 12-tone, some good stuff there. Lots of elephants. I think that's what he draws. Yeah, are they elephants that he draws? Like this thing here? Is that an elephant, or supposed to be an elephant? And I just love that he's not the best artist in the world, right? But he just goes in there and just gets it done. So very cool. Night Train 1988, hello to you. Yeah, watch some of the vids. It's very cool. It is a YouTube channel. So yeah, these are all YouTube channels. Just watched that video yesterday, says Thomas Christ. SM Borthwick, 12-tone is the best. I love the doodling. And yeah, I've got love there from Audible Video and from Thomas Christ. So yeah, definitely go check out 12-tone. Very good creator and worth your time. Another one that I find really interesting, and I talked about True Rock and Roll Stories. I can't remember the name of the channel now, last week, but along the same vein is Middle 8. Yeah, the name comes from, middle 8 being like that sort of middle 8 bars of your song. Really cool, yeah? So good information here. Little mini documentaries, 10 minutes, around that sort of bingeable sort of time frame, and a lot of different good stuff here. Californication and the Myth of California. Got the Arctic Monkeys there, if you're into the Arctic Monkeys. Basically goes through a bunch of different artists. The worst Radiohead album. What is the worst Radiohead album? So yeah, they're all a little bit clickbaity in the titles and the graphics there, but it's a fun watch, and it's interesting to check out. So again, if you've got some time and you want something that's not too heavy, that you don't need to learn anything in particular, but you just want to be entertained for about 10 minutes, go and check it out. Go check out Middle 8. It is worth your while. Gary Hub said, I had to teach my kids context. She thought hidden gems were actual gems. Yeah, well, especially if they play, Minecraft or Roblox or things like that, where they're actually going and mining hidden gems, even though they're virtual gems as well, right? So, yeah, I guess nothing is real. Everything is weird. Kim Harden Hudson says that King of Limbs is the worst Radiohead album. See, I don't know. Which one do I not like? I don't love Kid A. No, that's about, I kind of like them all, but definitely the Bends and OK Computer are next level, in my opinion, for Radiohead. Next up, we're going to say boom for the Metalhead Hippie. Yes. If you are not aware of the Metalhead Hippie, he does 3 streams a week. He does shows that are the same vein as Your Music Live. If you've ever watched the Your Music Live show here on the channel, the Hippie, Metalhead Hippie, does the same sort of thing. And don't let the name fool you. It is not just about metal. The Hippie covers all genres, and I was a bit thrown by this because he plays people's songs. So if you've got a song, you can go to the comments of one of his videos, leave a comment, say, hey Hippie, love the show, love the channel, here's my tune, would love you to consider playing it on the channel. So similar sort of structure to Your Music Live here on this channel, but he does it for about, how long was his last show? Let's find out. There you go, 5 hours and 34 minutes. So he's got a great community there, and yeah, the shows go for a long time. He plays a lot of music. He plays the whole song, and it's just a great little community. It's a great place to go. I admit I can't get there for every minute of every show, but I'll be walking around during the day my time, and whenever I see that the Hippie's live, I'll jump in and I'll just listen to an hour or so, and yeah, it's just a cool, relaxing, it's a hip, slick, and cool way to spend a couple of hours a few times a week. So big shout out to the Metalhead Hippie. He is a great supporter of this channel too, so thank you, Jeff, for your support of this channel. And yeah, there you go. And he plays Kim's stuff. Boom. Absolutely. And exactly, he seems to struggle to get a pure metal show together. I think there was a metal show that he did that Gary had a song on, and I can't remember who else. I know other people had music that are part of this community, and there's a lot of crossover, because there should be, because it's exactly up my alley. so to speak. So yeah, go and check out the Metalhead Hippie, link in the description. And last but not least for this week, if you are a YouTuber or if you are an aspiring YouTube content creator or video creator in general, you need to go and check out my man Daniel Batal. He is super awesome. You can see, like, you just look at him, you know he's awesome, right? Yeah. He's got the metal hair and the beard going on. He is a musician as well, so he's always got guitars in the background of his videos. But he does a whole bunch of stuff about videos, about editing, about YouTube, about the algorithm, about streaming, about everything. So, and you can see he's got a big variety, a huge range of different things to do with actual software, to do with the actual sort of infrastructure of YouTube, to do with the algorithm and how things work, to do with editing techniques as well. So actually being able to edit your videos and do it effectively. And the reason I thought about Daniel was that he and Dean Nimmin are both sort of in similar sort of fields, and they both do shows over on the StreamYard channel. So shout out to my friends at StreamYard, the StreamYard channel where they talk about live streaming tips and YouTube tips and other things as well. So yeah, you can sort of follow the bouncing ball through that whole community. You got Nick Nimmin, you got Dean Nimmin, you got Daniel Batal. There's a bunch of cool creators there. But if you are looking for someone who's a little bit rock and roll and talks a little bit about video editing as well, similar to me, a bit more hair than I do, then go check out Daniel Batal. You will not be disappointed in that one. There you go. There, Thomas Christ says, looks interesting. Haven't heard of this one. Yeah, go and check out Daniel Batal. He's a very, very cool dude. I promise you, if you dig what we do around here, and you dig folks like the Metalhead Hippie, and you dig Sarah Newen and Dean Nimmin, and you're looking for more information about video creators from someone who's doing it, and that's the cool thing. I mean, he just crossed 200,000 subscribers, so dude knows what he's talking about. Yeah. So you can trust in what is going on over there. Wow, who would have thunk it? But we finished right on time. It is literally just ticking over to the 1 hour mark. There was one thing that we left off here, and I'll finish with this super duper quickly, and that is, I'll finish with this, and you can leave your comments here. In fact, come back to the video and leave it on the actual video if you like, as well as the other question. I've asked a bunch of questions today. But YouTube now have a function where you can have streams where only people who have been subscribed for a set period of time can comment. What do you think about that? Do you think that some of the shows here should be subscriber-only streams? And it can be as little as 5 minutes, so people can come onto a stream. If they're not subscribed, they have to subscribe, and then in 5 minutes' time, they get the ability to comment. Or you can set it for an hour, or I think a day or a week or something. There's a bunch of different time periods. But it's interesting because if you've been on a stream where some people come in and you're like, oh no, here we go. Yo, dude, play my fire beat. You're like, play my fire beat, play my fire beat. And then one of our wonderful moderators has to go and just put them in timeout, and then they come back and they're like, play my fire beat, play my fire beat. And then they have to gently, politely escort them to the door. This could be a good way around that maybe, even if I just put that 5-minute one on, that would stop people from just coming in, spamming the chat and running away or being pushed away. What do you think? Is that a good move from YouTube? Is that something that I should implement here on the channel? Would love to know your thoughts. So do let me know about that one down in the comments. All right. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for being here today. We will be back again tomorrow with Garage Band Weekly, so I hope you can tune in for that one. Once again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Greenwich summertime. I keep saying meantime, but it's not that, is it? It's like British summertime at the moment. Anyway, whatever it is in London, go with that. And 7 a.m. for our folks on the East Coast here in Australia. Shout out to all the folks who I know who are in various states of lockdown around this country and around other countries. We will get there, but again, there's no overnight thing with this stuff. So spend the time in your audio cave, create some music, write some songs. Yeah, I hope you are doing well there. Thanks again for being here, and I hope you have a good day. Remember, be kind to yourself. Yeah, don't beat yourself up. Plenty of other people to do that for you. Be kind to others, because no one wants to be that guy or that gal, and keep creating. I'll see you real soon, folks. Bye for now.